the journey begins. Your girl is on her way to the testing center to take the LSAT. So my law school journey part 2 is officially beginning. And I say part 2 because I got my master's from the University of Dayton School of Law. However, I got my master's in the study of law with emphasis on government contracting and procurement. And even though I do have some contracting background, for those of you that don't know, I did some research, educated myself, and none of those classes can apply towards my JD degree because they were not taken after I completed the LSAT. So I am on my way to complete the LSAT. I am not nervous but anxious. Just from previous experience, I've never been the best test taker. So I think just the anxiety of me having to take a test and feeling that pressure is high. Number 2 is that I realized when I was practicing last night that I probably should have did more practice simulations with time. All of the simulations that I was primarily focused on were not timed. So I'm like, oops, maybe I should have tried to do some practice tests and some drills based on the timer requirements with the test. So that's in the back of my mind. I'm also wondering how adequately I'm prepared. What happened is that, when you think about something and you just want to do it. So once I made the decision that I wanted to go get my JD, I went ahead and I signed up immediately. Went ahead, did the test. I'm like, well, I need to get my test as soon as possible to be ready for fall 2025. And then when I did the research on my schools to figure out, when early decision was, when the scholarship deadline was, I realized that I didn't have to take it in November. I could take it in January to give me some more time. However, by that time, I missed the deadline to switch with no fee. And so if I were to switch, I would have to pay the full amount for another test. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to pay the full amount for another test, I might as well just take this test. So I don't want to call it a trial run because if I do good, I'm going to keep the score, obviously. And if I do bad, I'm just going to take it again in a couple months to study. So it's not too much pressure on me this first time around because, hey, I get to take it again. It's not going to affect my application. No, there's no need for me to worry, no need for me to sweat. So I'm just looking at this as, hey, let's just go take the test and wish the best. I hope and pray that I do way better than what I'm expecting to do. But if not, we always have January, and I can still do the test in January and still apply to early decision for my top school. So that's that. But I just can't believe that I'm just gonna start the journey back up again to go back to school. It's been a while, and when I finished my master's, I was like, I'll never have to go back. But I don't know what happened. It's just, when I was younger, I used to say I wanted to be a lawyer. Then it went from being a doctor. I went to college wanting to be a doctor, but organic chemistry killed those dreams of me wanting to be a doctor. I was like, if I can't get through organic chemistry, there's no way I'm going to be able to get through med school. I crossed that out my list. Literally crossed that out my list. Didn't even think back or twice about it. It was my junior year by that time. I failed it a couple times. That was the one class I failed several times. And it wasn't organic chemistry 1, it was organic chemistry 2 that I failed several times. And so at that point, I graduated with my biology degree, got a job, and it was just entry level. There's nothing you can really do with the entry level biology degree. You literally have to work your way up from the bottom up. And it was just someone without a degree can still work this position with my degree, so why am I here? That's what prompted me to go back to school. I got my master's program, went to the University of Dayton School of Law, did the master's program. So it was got a master's in the study of law, and I got a emphasis or certificate for government contracting and procurement, and that's opened a lot of doors for me in my career thus far. However, I want to keep going. I work with a lot of surgeons, directors, VPs in my current role, and legal counsel. And it was one of my favorite coworkers. I don't want to say his name, but one of my favorite coworkers right now. He's my main legal counsel, and my favorite meetings are with my legal counsel. Like, my favorite meetings are when we're talking about contracts and getting into the nitty-gritty. And with everything that's going on, there was like a few different aspects with me looking at some of the women that I look up to and I admire, Michelle Obama, Kamala Harris. Like, having a law degree, it changes how you think. It changes the way you think. And so I want to change the way that I think. I want to be able to know the law. I want to know what I'm up against. I want to be able to read those complex documents. And I also have a voice. I'm very passionate about helping others. So I really want to use this degree to advocate for others. I don't know what type of practice I want to go in or what type of law. I have a general idea. Right now I'm thinking health law. But as the more that I get into it, I don't know. I might go to criminal law. I don't know. I want to keep the options open. I don't know where God's going to lead me in terms of what type of law I want to practice. But I know I want to advocate for people. And I know I want to change the way that I think. And I know I want to be able to know the laws, because the laws are going to continuously change, as we know, within these next 4 years. So I just want to make sure that I'm equipped, I'm able to do the research myself, and I'm able to advocate for me and the people in my community, because we're going to need it. So yeah, starting this journey, I'm excited. I'm excited to get back into school. I'm excited to start taking classes that I enjoy. Undergrad, it wasn't hard for me, but it was a longer process than everyone else. I went to 3 different universities, 3 different states. It took me 6 years to graduate. And a lot of people counted me out and didn't think I was going to get my undergrad. So with my master's, I did one time through. I didn't have to take any time off. I went full-time instead of part-time. I got a 3.7, 3.8 GPA. So that lets me know that, like, when you go to school for something that you enjoy, it's different. Because I know a lot of people, they didn't do good in undergrad and they're like, oh, I don't know if I want to go back to school, yada, yada, yada. But one thing I noticed in my master's program is that I wanted to be in that program. I was engaged in that program. I was interested in that program. And that's why my grades were so good. Like, it wasn't even like work at that point. It was, oh, okay, let me log in to talk to these people about these contracts real quick because I read this case and it's crazy. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm excited to get back into school. It's just because I'm so interested to, like, take classes, read about the previous cases, you know, analyze and present and make my case. That's number one. And number two, I really enjoyed debate team. I really enjoyed the debate team. Even though I only did it for 1 season, I really, really enjoyed the debate team in high school. And so I think this is just my thing. I think this is the time for me to follow this path. And welcome. Thank you guys for joining me on this journey, because it's going to be a long road, right? I have to first take the LSAT, get a good grade. Then I have to do my applications. I know what schools. I started drafting my statement letter, my personal statement. But that's about it. I've started tailoring my resume for law school, but I haven't completed it yet. So there's just so many things left to do. But this is like step number 1 is take the LSAT. So I'm excited. I'm excited to expand my knowledge base, and I'm excited to get myself to the place where I can help and advocate for others. Don't let people put you in a box. You might wake up one day and you might want to do something completely different, but if your heart's in it and your mind is in it and you want to do it, then do it. But don't let your current situation prevent you from going. I'm not going to lie, I got deterred, and when I called my mom and I'm like, Mom, I don't know if they're going to even let me into law school with, you know, the new presidency and all of the rules changing and them changing the qualifications, and they're going to make it harder for me to get in. And she just had to reassure me that, like, God's plan is God's plan. Like, even the job that I got now, the interview, I bombed it, not because I didn't do good, but because I was trying to find a job at the time and I got laid off. And it was the craziest thing. I'm in one interview, but I have another interview here, and I mixed up a time for one of the interviews, and I need to take both, right? Because at this point I was living off of my savings. Thank God I had a nice chunk of savings to help me survive during that time. And within the interview of the job that I had now, they heard the people from the other interview asking me, where where is she at? Is she late? Can she connect? Because I'm in the chat making it seem like, oh, I can't connect. Oh, I'm having issues. Give me 1 second. When really I was in another interview while still trying to be attentive, while still answering questions. And I have one interview on one laptop, another interview on another laptop. It was crazy. Long story short, I still got the job. And then only after a year, I got promoted. So with that being said, what God's plan for you is God's plan for you. Because I soon noticed relatively quickly that I'm now blessed to have gotten promoted. And so all of that to say is God's plan is God's plan. So even though things might change, even though laws and rules might change within this next term, God's plan for me is still going to be God's plan for me. So I have to have faith, because the way that he maneuvered where I'm at right now is a complete blessing. With that being said, I'm going to go for it. I'm not going to let what could be or a potential outcome that hasn't happened yet deter me from pursuing my dreams. I believe I'm going to be a great attorney, okay? A great attorney. I'm a ride for my clients, and I'm excited to get to that point. Now, there's a lot of things I have to get through. LSAT 1, potentially LSAT 2, application, getting accepted. First year, what do they say? 1L, 2L, 3L, 4L. Like, getting through each year is going to be a challenge. Nipsey Hussle says, the marathon continues. This is a marathon. It's not a race. And so with that being said, I'm just going to take one step at a time and just document my journey, because I just want to encourage other people who are in their situation who don't think they can or might be in a different career. I mean, it's never too late, and don't let the circumstances you're in now prevent you from doing something else. The situation I'm in now is kind of like, I don't want to let other people put me in a box. And just because some people have been working for a company for 15, 20 years, that's great for them. That's great. If this is their life path, this is their life path. If this is their end goal, I'm glad for them. This is their end goal. But what I'm realizing, I really don't think I stopped realizing, but sometimes you can just get caught up in life with bills, with routine, with how things are, that you lose focus on what you're supposed to be focused on. You lose focus on where you're trying to go. In my situation, spending more time spending money being in environments or groups with people that don't like me, that are hating, that are jealous, have low self-esteem, bullying, and these are 20-something-year-olds, 21-year-olds and up. And so it's just kind of I'm spending my time and my money being in these areas that I don't enjoy. I don't feel good anymore when I go to these places, because everybody's doing all of this, and I'm just like, are these the type of people I want to be around? Is this where I want to be? Is this the end goal? And then I really had to take a step back and be like, no, where I want to be is here, but I've been spending all my time and focus on here. So for me also, this is like a focus shift. Let's get back on track. Let's stay focused to where we're trying to go, because I kind of got lost in the sauce a little bit. I got lost in, here, let me switch my camera, y'all, because this is all right. My steering wheel and stuff was bothering me, so I switched my phone around. But yeah, I got lost in the sauce a little bit. I got lost in the routine, lost in where I wanted to really be. And then I woke up one day, haters gonna hate, right? Now when you're focused on yourself and you're living your life and you're thriving, loving yourself, sometimes that can trigger insecurities in other people. That brings me back to reality. Hey, why am I continuing to surround myself or put myself in positions where I'm triggering people's insecurities? But that's out of my control. But then it's just reminding me hey, I don't want to be like you when I grow up. I don't want to be like you here for 15, 16 years, disgruntled and mad that I didn't follow my dreams. And now you're hating on the young, fresh Gen Xer, or, the generation that comes up, your employee who is now your coworker, because they're living their lives and they're in a position that you're in, but it took you 15 years to go there, and it only took me a year and a half, right? So people hate on stuff like that. But even though the answer's in the data, the results in the pudding, look at the data, you can see why. But some people don't want to look at the data. They don't want to look at the analytics. They just want to feel some type of way that you got to where you got to. So with all that being said, I'm just reiterating, do what you want to do. Go after your dreams. Stay focused. Sometimes you have to reboot. This is me rebooting to refocus back on what I need to focus on. Stop focusing on everybody else. Stop trying to help everybody else. Fill your cup. Make sure you get to where you're supposed to get to, and you're living your life and you're fulfilling your purpose. And so that's what I'm doing today. This is my law school journey. It's gonna be a long road ahead, just like undergrad was, but I'm excited to take this journey. I'm welcoming this journey. I'm looking forward to this journey. The only thing I keep thinking about is Maxine Shaw, attorney at law. Like, I just think I was destined to be here. And it's weird because when I went to apply for my master's program, I was like, no, I don't want to get a JD, because at that time there wasn't like a hybrid option or remote option. So it's kind of like life had to happen and things had to happen this way just to get me to this point of, okay, so I can work and go to law school because there is a hybrid option, you know? So yeah, I am going to be working full-time while going part-time. So it's going to take me 4 years, or it could take me 5, but I'm going to try to take some summer classes. However, the advice that I got is that I might need to take a break, so think about that. Think about that. Make sure I have some time to decompress and have some time to kind of refill my cup, because I know law school is going to be taxing, and I also know my job's going to be taxing. I still have to pay my bills.